Last weekend, a boxer called Dave Charnley died. Now, Charnley was 72, former ABA champion, boxed for the Fitzroy Lodge. In 1954, in the ABA final, he stopped Dick McTaggart. Less than 2 years later, Dick McTaggart won a gold medal. Charnley turned professional, won the British title, the European, the Commonwealth title at lightweight, but kept fighting welterweights, guys that were the reigning welterweight world champions. Anyway, he did fight for the world title twice, losing once in Houston, Texas against Joe Old Bones Brown, and then losing on points here in 1961 to Joe Brown in a fight that everybody at ringside thought he'd won clearly. But because his manager, Arthur Boggis, had had a row 20 years earlier with the referee, Tommy Little, who was the only man scoring the fight, at the end of the fight, Little raised the hand of Joe Brown, who looked shocked. The scores have never been revealed, and how the hell that was allowed to take place, I still don't know. So Dave Charnley should have been a world champion at a time when there were only about 9 world champions. Anyway, he was a Fitzroy Lodge boy, and I've got Grant Davis, cabbie and member of the committee and boss man at the lodge, on the line now. Good evening, Granty.
Evening, Bunty. How are we?
I'm fantastic. Oh, had you seen Dave Charnley been at a show in the recent years? 5 years, 6 years? Oh, he had.
He had. And I remember Mickey, before Mickey went, he was saying at one occasion Dave actually come down the gym for a cup of tea.
Oh.
And I always remember Mickey saying that Charnley walked in, took a sniff, and went, "Smell don't change, Mick, does it?"
Because he was a bit sort of, he was rare. I mean, in the 70s, he was this enigmatic figure. No one saw him, but he was making millions, Granny. You know, he was worth a fortune.
Well, he went on, I believe, to open a hairdressers.
Hairdressers?
And then into property.
Yeah, he bought lumps of land in Kent and built, like, housing estates on them.
Yeah. So all these people that say boxers are thick and it does your brain cells, I think Dave Charnley would have something to have said about that.
He was
Steve,
indeed,
you know?
and a sudden illness at the end, and I'm never sure if that's a good or a bad thing, as we went through with Mick, about 5 or 6 weeks of it. I mean, hey, listen, it's all over now. But Grant, it's been a busy day at the Fitzroy Lodge today. Who have you had down there?
Yeah, it's been really busy. Tonight I've just dropped a few people up, and we had Kate Hoey. And
she came down?
And the Parliamentary Boxing Committee.
Oh, that woman, yeah, I was with a couple of those last week on that 5 Live debate.
That's right, she did mention you, actually.
Yeah, she's a nice woman. What's her name?
Really nice.
She's a Conservative MP, but she's a nice lady.
Charlotte Leslie. Yeah, and
not Kate Hoey.
Yeah, and basically, Steve, what we had them down for is like you know, amateur boxing really gets no money at all. And we got them down to see if they could help the lodge try to get some funding to help keep us going. And we explained to them, like tonight, we said, look, there you go. Not a day goes past without picking up a paper or listening to Radio London, where there's these young guys getting killed on the street.
Yes, the
people are saying, how do we stop people getting into gangs? And I said, look, Kate, here's 60 kids who fit that criteria. Yeah. And they're not in gangs. They're coming to Fitzroy Lodge in the middle of Lambeth because they choose to turn their back on gangs and come and be positive, and they want to box. But we can't get no money, Steve. No one wants to give us a penny.
Don't you find that amazing, Grant? And I was talking to this woman, Charlotte Leslie, last week, and I was saying, you know, there's all these very bold and brave words from you people, but the guys that run these amateur boxing gyms that are keeping these, you know, 3 and 4 and 500 and 600 kids a week, you know, repeat guys off the streets, they're doing it for niche. They're not even getting their petrol or their phone bill. She found that rather stunning, especially because obviously with parliamentarians and expenses, I don't suppose she could get her head around that.
That's right, and tonight there was a couple of other MPs as well, and they really couldn't believe that in, say, somewhere like Lambeth, where, as we know, last week there was 8 young kids killed in stabbing incidents,
Wow.
The young boys between, say, like tonight was a senior night, so there was kids in there from, say, 14, 15, all the way up to their mid-20s, who absolutely meet the criteria of being a gang member in Lambeth.
Absolutely.
But Lambeth Council and everyone else don't want to know. Don't want to help us keep the doors open.
But Kate Ho is aware of that. She's been at the gym before. She's been there with Mick a few times. But I'm pleased you got this Charlotte in, because she's quite powerful. I mean, she's a bit of a mover and a shaker.
Well, exactly. And I mean, and it's not as if we're sitting back, Steve. With the boys, we've had sponsored walks, sponsored runs. We're trying to raise money for a minibus for the lodge. Okay. And next week I'm going to get my pen and paper out. So I don't know. I think I better write to Vladimir Klitschko and see if he wants to buy the lodger minibus, you know.
Well, you know what? That ain't as crazy as it sounds, Granty. Maybe we're right.
No, it ain't. It's not.
Maybe we're right to some of the old boys like David A. Listen, Granty, I'm going to have to cut you off, so I've got to go to travel. But listen, do me a favour. Granty, listen, let's go and get some fish. Let's go and get some fish soon.
Next week.
All right, that'd be a lovely. Grant Davis there. Thanks very much indeed. In a gym packed with kids and absolutely no money. The Fitzroy Lodge. It's probably about 400 metres walk away from the Commons. How amazing is that? Listen to Steve.